All right, let's dive into the story of two of the most important figures in modern culture that you've probably never really heard of, the writer William S. Burroughs and the artist Brian Gysin. Now, these guys were more than just counterculture icons or creative revolutionaries. They might have actually been practicing magicians. Burroughs dropped this incredible, cryptic line once, and for a long, long time, people have seen it as this beautiful, poetic statement about art. You know, it's mysterious, it's deep, and has been incredibly influential. But what if we took him literally? What if this wasn't a metaphor at all? What if the creative work of Burroughs and Gysin was really about practicing magic to actually bend and shape reality itself? Yeah, that's the rabbit hole we are jumping down today. Okay, so at the very center of their strange partnership was this concept they called the third mind. The idea is kind of simple, but it's also incredibly profound. When two creative people collaborate, a third, totally separate entity is born. It's like an autonomous consciousness with its own ideas and its own creative power. So, who were the two minds that cooked up this third one? Well, they were a fascinating pair, a real study in opposites, who found each other in the creative chaos of post-war Paris. I mean, just look at the contrast here. On one side, you have William S. Burroughs, the notorious author of Naked Lunch, born into a wealthy family, obsessed with guns, and deep in a lifelong battle with heroin. And on the other side, you've got Brian Gysin, a world-traveling artist, a true innovator, a surrealist, and a mystic who genuinely believed he was cursed by a jinn, a spirit from North Africa. So they holed up in this shabby little Parisian hotel that they called the Beat Hotel. And their third mind just went into overdrive. It became their personal laboratory for inventing these really radical techniques, not just for making art, but for actively trying to dismantle what we all agree on as reality. So their first big invention was the cut-up technique. The story goes that Gysin just stumbled upon it by accident. He was using a razor blade to cut a mount for a drawing and slice through a stack of newspapers underneath. When he saw the random words and phrases jammed together, he realized it created all these new, startling meanings. Of course, he ran to show Burroughs immediately. And this shows you just how simple it is. You take any piece of writing, you slice it up, you shuffle the pieces, and bam, a new text appears. But for them, this was way more than just a fun creative game. They saw it as a form of divination, a way of scrambling the known present to let messages from the future leak through. And then there was their other totally mind-bending invention, the dream machine. Gysin and his partner Ian Somerville created this thing, and they called it the first work of art to be viewed with your eyes closed. Basically, the flickering light through the spinning cylinder stimulates your optic nerve and creates these incredibly vivid, colorful patterns in your mind. It's like a drug-free trip machine designed to get you into those creative, dreamlike states. But here is the absolute key to all of this. For Burroughs and Gysin, these weren't just artistic gimmicks. No way. They were real, practical tools for a working system of magic. For them, creativity was magic. It was their operating system for dealing with a whole world of unseen forces they truly believed were all around us. And they were dead serious about this stuff. They talked about intermediary beings, spirits, demons, jinn, that could actually interfere in people's lives. Gysin once claimed he channeled an ugly spirit that had possessed Burroughs. He was also completely convinced that his restaurant in Morocco went under because a rival cursed him with a jinn. This belief in real, hands-on magic led to one of their most infamous experiments. It was a technique they called playback, and it was basically a way to curse a place using nothing but sound. The whole process was like a form of audio witchcraft. They actually did this to a London cafe where they thought the service was rude. They secretly recorded the sounds from the street outside, took the tape back home, cut it up, distorted it, and then just played this ugly, scrambled noise back at the cafe over and over again. And get this, within 2 months, the cafe went out of business. So why did these two strange, occult-obsessed guys still matter so much? Because their third mind didn't just stay cooped up in that little Paris hotel. It got out. It escaped, and it started to infect and reshape pop culture in ways we are absolutely still feeling today. Their collaboration became what one researcher called a veritable factory for producing unbelievable ideas. And those ideas, they were snatched up by some of the biggest names in music and art, who used them to blast open their own creative worlds. Seriously, their influence is hiding in plain sight. David Bowie built entire songs using the cut-up technique for his lyrics. The Beatles thought Burroughs was so cool they stuck him right on the cover of Sgt. Pepper's. Kurt Cobain even did a collaboration with him. And it was Brian Geisen who introduced Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones to the mystical music of Morocco. Their DNA is just everywhere.
And the impact wasn't just on art. In his later years, Burroughs became a kind of godfather to chaos magic, which is a modern, really practical occult movement. He gave them his stamp of counterculture approval and his weird techniques like playback, which a whole new generation of magicians saw as truly groundbreaking stuff.
And that brings us right back to that first quote, and it leaves us with one final big question. If Burroughs and Gieschen were onto something, if cutting up the present really does let the future leak out, then what hidden messages are scrambled into the music, the art, the memes all around us right now? What futures are leaking through the cracks of our own culture today?